Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to ISGEC Engineering Company Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by ICICI Securities. As a reminder, all participants' line will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Ranjit Shivaram from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon all, and on behalf of ICICI Securities, I invite you all for the Q1 FY22 earnings call of ISGEC. The management of the company will be represented by Mr. Aditya Puri, the Managing Director, Mr. S.K. Khurana, Executive Director and Company Secretary, Mr. Sanjay Gulati, Whole-Time Director and Head of the Manufacturing Unit, Mr. Kishore Chatnani, the Whole-Time Director and CFO. So we will have an initial opening remarks regarding the results and the recent outlook by Mr. Aditya Puri and follow it up with Q&A session. So I hand it over to Mr. Aditya Puri for the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ranjit. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our earnings conference call. I hope that you and your loved ones are all well and safe. This is our 6th investor conference call, and I look forward to a fruitful interaction. We have also uploaded our presentation on BSE, NSE and our website earlier today. Many of you are familiar with our business. For the benefit of the new investors and analysts joining for the first time, I will give a brief introduction about our business. We are a diversified heavy engineering company engaged in manufacturing and project businesses. We manufacture process plant equipment, presses and iron and steel castings. We execute turnkey projects for setting up boilers, power plants, air pollution control equipment, sugar plants, distilleries, factories, and bulk handling facilities. We also develop strength in construction. We address the requirements of a wide spectrum of industries, mainly power, fertilizer, sugar and distilleries, oil and gas, automobile components, steel, cement, chemicals, railways and defense. Our presence across multiple industries and geographies helps us to spread any sectoral or geographical risk. Let me now talk about our consolidated financial results for the first quarter of this financial year. The total consolidated revenue for Q1 of FY22 at 1133 crores is higher by 5%, rupees 1075 crores for Q1 of FY21. The consolidated EBITDA of Q1 of FY22 at rupees 33 crores is however lower compared to rupees 96 crores for Q1 of FY21. The consolidated profit after tax for Q1 of FY22 is rupees 14 crores as compared to rupees 42 crores Q1 of FY21. The profitability has been lower due to impact of commodity price increases and as production and project execution work was impacted adversely in the quarter with the onslaught of the second wave of COVID-19. Factories were running normally until the third week of April 2021. However, after that, there was a shortfall in production because of non-availability of oxygen and argon gas. The availability of argon and oxygen gas again normalized from June 2021. In the projects business, we had to keep our offices in Noida, Pune and Chennai closed for 6 to 8 weeks in the first quarter and employees work from home. Offices have been reopened in June with partial attendance being permitted on rotational basis. While all project sites were operational, but considering the fear and panic around, retention of existing manpower of contractors was a challenge. Some difficulties were also experienced in resource mobilization, such as tying up with testing agencies and procuring tools and cranes. Supervision of erection and commissioning was also adversely affected due to some of the engineers being COVID positive. As you may be aware, commodity prices, especially steel, have gone up steeply. Prices for steel plates, structures and TMT bars have gone up sharply since January 2021. These have also had an adverse impact on our costs. All the above factors contributed to lower profitability for the quarter. Presently, the working at the project sites has improved in July 2021 and is now near normal. Factories are also running normally. I will now talk about the order booking. The consolidated order booking for Q1 FY22 is rupees 2366 crores, which is nearly 4.5 times as compared to the order booking in Q1 of last year. The orders in hand as of 30th April 2021 are rupees 7924 crores against rupees 6560 crores as on 30th June last year. The order book position remains very satisfactory. Of our consolidated order book, about 83% is for the project business and 17% is for the product business. The order book includes rupees 827 crores of export orders, which is just over 10%. Order booking for ISGEC Hitachi Zosen was also good. It has orders of 489 crores it has rupees 489 crores worth of orders as on 30th April 2021. Order fructification during Q1 FY21 has been good, with orders being booked for almost all the products except for presses. Overall demand trends are encouraging as the inquiry position is good. About 50% of our order book are PSU customers, which has a price variation clause, and the price increases for some of the materials can be passed on to the customers. For the rest of the order book, we have fixed price contracts from customers but keep contingency margins on costs. These have not proved enough given the extent of the commodity price increases. In view of this, we are trying to keep higher contingency margins on costs for new orders, but the market is very competitive. Regarding Cavite Biofuels ethanol plant in the Philippines, we are on track to restart construction of the plant. Construction is expected to restart by around the first week of October 2021. We continue to think it's a good business and will be profitable to run, though we will keep the option to sell it when it is complete. We have given special emphasis on vaccination and also organized some camps for vaccination at our offices and factories. 99.1% of the eligible manpower, our employees and contractors workers, have received their first dose, and 98.6% of the eligible manpower have received both the doses. In general, ISGEC continues to be optimistic about our overall positioning in the market, and with our presence in multiple segments and geographies, a robust balance sheet, state-of-the-art infra and manufacturing capabilities, technology partnerships, and the right quality of people, we will continue to focus on strengthening our financial metrics and serve the community and people at large. Thank you. Thank you.
Should we start the Q&A session, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. To ask a question, you may please press star and one. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have a first question from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Sir, if you look at our margins on the EPC side, they have declined significantly to almost around 1%. So, what has happened in the quarter, and how do you see the margins panning out on the EPC side as well as on the equipment side over the near to medium term?
So this quarter, there were a lot of extra expenses at the site, as I said in my presentation, to keep the sites going, to maintain social distancing, vaccinations for employees, and also getting labor at a much higher rate, because there was all-round fear, and a lot of people, many of the workers actually left the site. So we had to put in a lot of extra expenses just to keep this site alive, and also because of the steep hike in commodity pricing. Because of the steep hike in steel prices and copper, aluminium, nickel, we had to take a hit on that. So that is the reason for the very low. The turnover was also lower than the previous quarter, and the costs were higher because of the reasons that I just mentioned. So both these this contributed to higher, to a lower profit.
Sure. So do you think we'll come back to a normalized margin, let's say of around 6-7%, or even higher in Q2, Q3 for the rest of the quarters of this year on the EPC side?
Yeah, we expected the rest of the quarters would be quite normal.
Okay. And sir, on the raw material cost increase, there has been a significant jump in commodity prices from across various commodities. So on the PSU side, we do, as you have always mentioned, that we have a price variation clause, but we do have a significant order book from private players as well. So how do you think we will pass on the prices of such sharp increase in prices to our private companies from which we have received the orders?
So from the private companies where we have already received the orders, although we may sort of ask them for a price increase, but we are not banking on that. We do. This price increase has happened, and if steel doesn't, and we've accounted for that. So now if steel doesn't go up any higher, or we do not, or there is not a third wave of COVID, we should be okay in the quarter going forward.
Sure.
We have factored in the increased price.
Okay. And sir, on the order booking side, we have seen a significant increase in our order book, and the order inflow has been pretty good. Recently also we have won quite a few orders. So any outlook on the order book for the next few quarters, or for the remaining part of this year?
So in most lines of our business, the inquiry level is good and sustained, and therefore we do not sort of expect any. We do not expect a paucity of orders. But this quarter, a lot of order things on tendering and other things. So this quarter has been exceptionally good. We don't expect this order booking of say 2,400 crores to continue every quarter, but we will be very comfortably placed, and we are very comfortably placed as far as the order booking is concerned.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A reminder to the participant, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Avadhoot Joshi from Newberry Capitals. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm just looking for one clarification. The total order book of 7,924 crores, the split you mentioned in the initial remarks that 83% of it is EPC and 17% of it is manufacturing. Is that right, what I heard?
Yeah, Kishore, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And how much of this will be the fixed cost component in this? Can you split that one?
Roughly 50-50.
50-50. 50% will be fixed cost and 50% we can pass it on. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Digant Haria from GreenEdge Wealth. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. So my question is, mainly that, we have almost touched 8,000 crores in order book. Probably it's the highest ever order book. And you also mentioned that you can easily see 1,500 to 2,000 crores of order inflow every quarter. So are we geared up for, execution that, we may not delay the execution of these orders on the committed timelines? How is our preparation on the ground considering COVID and, the problems with contractual labor?
So the problems with the contractual labor are easing out. I'm not saying that they're totally finished, but it's certainly much better than what it was a month, 2 months ago. It's certainly very much better than that. So one of the things that has happened is that the shift as a deliberate policy, the shift has been towards larger value orders. So if we have a larger order book, it will probably be representing smaller number of orders. So we are geared up to do the order book that we have and geared up to do it on time, barring any unforeseen COVID-related third wave occurrences. But we have geared up. We are geared up for that, and on the manufacturing side, we are making marginal small investments to debottleneck and to increase production.
Yeah. Right, sir. Sir, and last time you mentioned that, we have probably been missing out on international orders because Indians, there's a lot of restrictions on Indians to travel and present and meet clients. So any easing up you see on this side, or if, let's say, in the next 12 months, the traveling restrictions ease, can you expect significant orders even from international side?
Yeah, the booking from international orders should improve, and we are seeing that the situation has improved, and in the last few months, we have been able to book some orders. Nothing very, not very high value orders, but orders have started trickling in, and the order book is the export order booking has started again, and real time orders have happened.
Right, sir. So, and lastly, I just saw that we won the first ethanol, the ethanol distillery order from, this Dwarikesh Sugar. So it's now, it's almost like 6 months and, we have the new ethanol policy and everything. So what are your general thoughts on, how much CapEx will happen and, is that CapEx profitable or you just see, any thoughts on you and your strategy? You said that you will partner with somebody at the right time for, 1 and 2G ethanol. Any thoughts on this?
No, so 2G ethanol, we are still looking at 2G ethanol, the economics of 2G ethanol. And we are looking at it. But as far as ethanol is concerned, so your question is, the ethanol is going to be profitable for us, or ethanol people are putting up plants, are they going to earn profits?
Yeah, my question is mainly for you, that, is entering this whole space, is it going to be profit accretive for us, or similar profits as the existing lines of business, or lesser profits?
Yes. Certainly, yes. And there are ethanol plants which are going to come up, and we are also setting up in our own sugar factory our own ethanol plant.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So that's it from my side. Wish you all the best for the next 9 months. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A reminder to the participant, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Nishit Shah from Equitas Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, sir, I want to congratulate on your good numbers and your order. So basically, our order book has been at record high now. So I wanted to understand that are the new orders we are booking have already considered the increase in price hike and the contingency of this raw material volatility?
Yes, the new orders, yes, certainly.
Okay. And sir, second thing I wanted to understand is that we are doing you said that we are doing debottlenecking. So can you please elaborate which particular segments are we looking at and what kind of capacity addition?
Yeah, so just to answer, can I answer this question, Kishore?
Yes, of course, sir. It's all in the manufacturing segment.
It's all in the manufacturing segment, so it's in the foundry area. Our foundry in Yamunanagar, we are doing some marginal investment in increasing its capacity. By about nearly 50%. And also on boiler pressure parts, we are planning debottlenecking to increase capacity. We've also been approved by DRDO for oxygen plants, and we've got our first order. This is just a here and now, so that also we are doing some marginal investment for that.
So can you please repeat how much in the pressure part?
I can't give you the exact figures, but it's not very significant. The investments are not significant. Not very significant.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that we are investing 50 crores or something like that. It's not. Right.
50 crores is overall.
No, it's not that. I'm saying it's not that. It's not very significant. The investment.
Okay.
But this is to increase capacity because our order booking is good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Kunal Seth from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I just have one question. Most of my other questions have been answered. Sir, as of now, we supply boilers for the ethanol applications. My question is pertaining to can we supply the entire plant for the ethanol, and are we thinking in those directions, or we are not really keen for that?
No. I'm sorry. No, we are actually supplying the complete plant for ethanol.
Okay. So, and this is our own technology, or have we, tied up with anyone for?
This is our own technology. Yeah.
Okay. And sir, so you've been supplying this entire plant, or this is a recent phenomenon? Because
no, we have been supplying. In a small scale, we have been supplying. Yes, we have been supplying.
Okay. And sir, so out of a total ethanol plant, what would be our scope of opportunity then, sir?
So, in a complete ethanol plant, we can do everything. So the customer may not want us to do something. Some customer says that I will do the civil work, or some customer says that I already have a turbine, so he excludes that. But we are capable of, and we can do everything. If he gives us a plot of land, we can do everything.
Okay. And we are capable of handling most feedstock, is it, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any question, may please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Dipesh Agarwal from UTI AMC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Sir, my first question is, we understand some of the extra cost in 1Q, but would your margin guidance continue to remain the same? In the past, you have highlighted 8% on EPC and 13-14% on products. Maybe if not for this year, at least for next year?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Sir, also there is a large Barmer order for boiler is expected. What would be the bidding timelines, and would we be a key player for this?
Sorry, can you just repeat your question? I didn't get your second question. There is a boiler order expected?
Sir, for Barmer Refinery, I guess there is a large boiler order which is expected this year. Can you help us with the timeline and how large this could be?
I should not disclosing you the numbers.
We can't talk about orders which are not booked by us.
But I think they should be ordering in the next 2 to 3 months. It's come to the stage when I think they should be ordering within the next 2 or 3 months.
Understood.
The inquiry has not come out as yet, but yeah.
Okay. And sir, can you talk about our initiative on the green side? So how we are looking at turning the company into a more greener company? Are we looking at the fuel cells, hydrogen, or greener technologies?
Yes, we certainly are looking at the greener technologies. We are looking at how the landscape is changing in India and the world over. We are very much alive to it, and at the right time we will strike. Let me put it that way.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Levin Shah from ValueQuest Investment. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my question is on the order booking that we have seen during this quarter. So the order inflow has been very strong. If you can just throw some light on what are the kind of segments or industry from where you have seen this kind of good order inflows.
So basically, the order have come from all our industries that we cater to most of the industries that we cater to. We however feel that the textiles and automobile sectors have been sluggish during this the last quarter. Although textiles is now picking up, I believe in July it started picking up. But by and large, I cannot pinpoint any one particular segment, but we've got orders from pharma, we've got orders from chemicals, from metals, refineries, fertilizer plants, power plants. So it's all the entire gamut. Except we feel that industries that are linked with automobile and textiles have not really picked up. Although July, we feel that they have also done better.
Okay. So, sir, have we seen any like a large orders flowing through and some of the large orders contributing majorly, because like you spoke about it in the earlier part that going forward the order inflows run rate may not continue at this rate?
No. So yes, I did say that it may not continue at this rate because if it were to continue at this rate, we would not be able to execute 10,000 crores of orders in a year. We are not geared up towards that, so we may not even take those orders. But so many times bunching of orders happens, and in capital goods, quarter to quarter is not a long time enough to say whether the order booking has been good or not. But this one quarter has been very good, and we expect the next quarter to be also very strong. But we may not like to take all the orders, and it may not be, these 2,400 crores that we booked this quarter. But it is not to say that we are seeing any sluggishness in the economy. It's not that.
Right. Sir, and my second question is on the sugar orders or the orders from the sugar industry. So what we have seen during last quarter is a lot of new announcements from the sugar mills for putting up fresh capacities. So are we seeing that kind of trend in our inquiries and order inflows? And do we see that going forward as well? There would be substantial order inflows from sugar business.
So what the sugar mills are basically doing is again debottlenecking to increase capacity, and we have got from a number of sugar orders for incremental increases in capacity. Although there are not too many people who are investing in fresh greenfield plants where you can expect very big orders.
Right. But on the distillery front, there are fresh greenfield plants that are announced. So are we catering to that market?
Yes, and we got an order for one distillery just very recently, last quarter, this April to June quarter.
Right. Sir, and what would be our market share in this sugar distillery business? Any ballpark range or any number that you would like to put as far as our market share is concerned in the domestic market?
Well, in the sugar, it is very high. It could be about 50%, but in the distillery sector, we are new entrants, and it would not be very high, maybe about 15% or so, something like that.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A reminder to the participant to ask a question. You may please press
Deva.
N1. The next question is from the line of Mithun Aswath from Kiva Advisor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. In looking at this company quite recently, so I don't have too much of a background. But I just wanted to understand, you have quite a few subsidiaries, joint ventures in your company. I just wanted to understand, what is your longer term strategy in terms of, are you going to be continue to focus on EPC, or do you want to increase your manufacturing business? I also see you have a sugar subsidiary where you're putting up a ethanol plant. So I just wanted to understand how will the capital allocation policy be going forward, and how do you see this company, maybe 3-4 years from now? Do you look at maybe, demerging some of these businesses and listing them separately? So just wanted your thoughts on that.
No, so as of now, the order book, which is good in the main companies, is also good in all the subsidiaries. So there is no plan to shut any subsidiary or to demerge any subsidiary. If there is an opportunity at some stage, yes, but we're not looking at that as of now. So to answer your question, every quarter we do take a stock of what is happening, and we sort of have annual budgets and plans for each of these subsidiaries. And so we are not planning any major capital investment, but we're not planning any major capital investment. But at the same time, if an opportunity comes, we may take it. So capital allocation in in those terms, we haven't thought about anything very significantly at this point in time. But Kishore, would you like to say anything more on that?
So there are no plans to put any major money into any subsidiary, as Mr. Puri just explained. And he also explained that there are some capital investments going to be done in small capital investments in the manufacturing segment. But that's largely about the fresh capital to be deployed. There are no major fresh large investments to be made.
Right. I'm just saying what about the sugar business?
The sugar business
is profitable for us, and we plan to continue with that.
Right. No, I'm just trying to understand. Would that kind of be a little bit different from your mainline businesses? Would you want to hive off that business into a separate entity? And I just wanted to understand what's your thoughts on that, because you are spending quite a bit on the ethanol facility, right?
Right.
So just wanted to understand what are the contours of that in terms of how profitable is that business likely to be, and when is that likely to be commissioned, the ethanol business?
The ethanol business is likely to be quite profitable, and it's going to be commissioned next month, hopefully, yeah.
Okay. And what kind of utilization do you see in the ethanol business this year? And if you can just take us through in terms of what sort of return on capital employed can we expect from that?
Yeah, Kishore, the capital employed.
So this year, because it's going to be starting now, and sugar business, it has to be looked at not as a standalone distillery, because it is going to be buying or transferring the molasses from the sugar business. And this year, of course, we are carrying some molasses stock. But from the next year onwards, we are going to be making B-heavy molasses, which is an intermediate process in the manufacture of sugar. So there will be some less production of sugar and more production of this B-heavy molasses. So this business needs to be looked at combined between the sugar and the ethanol plant. Obviously, it will give us flexibility to decide whether to make more sugar or to make more ethanol, depending on the prevailing price of sugar and the government mandated price of ethanol. So it will give us a lot of flexibility to decide where the profit will be more. I don't think since it's going to run for part of the year this year, I don't think the return on capital employed number makes sense at this point of time.
Okay. But over the longer run, in the medium term, what kind of return on capital employed do you expect from that?
I would imagine it will be more in excess of 15%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Goyal from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have few questions, sir. Just to clarify, the order inflow number, what you mentioned, is it for year till date or it is entirely in Q1? Because the list of orders, what you have stated in the presentation, has certain orders which were announced recently. So if you can clarify what was the order inflow in Q1 and year till date.
Sure. All of these orders which are listed on slide 31.
Yeah.
These are all orders from Q1.
And what was that number? I missed that number, Kishoreji.
He said 2366 is the number for consolidated, but give me a second. The number of standalone is 2199. Give me a second to tell you that number.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay, so 2366 is the number for the quarter on a consolidated basis. If you are looking for a standalone number, I can give you the standalone number, though he did not speak about it. So the standalone inflow is 2131.
As compared to, sir, comparable number last year?
Last year, that number for 2131, the comparison was 442.
And on consolidated, sir?
Consolidated, this quarter number is 2366, and for last year the same quarter was 526.
Right, sir. Okay, sir. On operation side, just want to clarify that. So from June, July. So in Q2, we would be seeing a normalized operation in terms of say supply chain disruptions are not there, labor availability is fine, and from those all aspects, do you expect that we have probably achieved a normalized production run rate in the current quarter, sir?
So I can say that it is normal at this point in time. So early July, so it's been improving. It's been improving from say the last week of June. It has been improving. Third week of June, it has been improving. So a bit of July was also less than optimal, but it is normal now.
Okay. And sir, if you can also give us a perspective, how do you expect overseas subsidiaries and the JVs to perform in the current year? I believe Hitachi Zosen, you mentioned order book is 489 crores?
Right, that's right. That's right.
Okay. So how, if you can help us with how do you expect in the current year our JVs to perform, and even overseas Eagle Press, it will be helpful.
We are expecting the performance of all JVs to be better than last year. We are expecting that. If there are no unforeseen things like third COVID wave or something,
sure,
we're expecting better.
And so we expect Eagle Press to turn around in the current year?
Yes, current year, yes. It has a healthy order book now. Ever since the U.S. economy is opened and movements allowed.
Okay. And sir, on Caveat, we mentioned that we are looking to start basically balanced construction activity from the 1st October. So sir, what kind of capex we are looking to incur for that facility, and how does it get funded, sir?
So we are looking at a capex of I just checked about 170 to 180 crores, including pre-operating and all those sort of expenses. And we are looking to take a loan which has been approved by one of the banks. ISGEC will give a guarantee for that loan, but it will be through the debt route.
Okay. But sir, we are still open to looking for a buyer and probably exit the.
We are open to buyer. We have inquiries, and one potential customer or whatever is in a very deep state of due diligence at this point in time.
Okay, so even if we can continue constructing, and if we get a buyer, we are open to selling it.
Correct, absolutely.
Right, sir. And sir, last question, just to clarify again on the margins. We expect that in current year, despite subdued Q1, we expect for the full year EPC margin should be between 7 to 8%, and for the manufacturing equipment it should be 12 to 13%.
We expect the margins to come back to be normal in the next few quarters. So we are expecting the next few quarters and the year end to be quite normal. Yes.
So for as far as the commodity inflation is concerned, basically we expect that large part of the impact is already felt in Q1 and maybe in Q2, and going forward we should be able to probably get back to our normalized margin.
Right.
Is that a fair assumption, sir?
Right. Absolutely.
Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Kumar from iThought PMS. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. A couple of questions. So we got into new segments to compensate for the drop in private capex. Like we got into water treatment, civil infra for railways, and even material handling. What are the margins on these segments? If not Q1, at least the FY21 margins?
So the FY21 margins, as I said, have been affected by commodity price increase, but the new orders that we've got in these segments are at a very decent margin, at improved margins, at improved margins.
Okay, it's not the numbers. So are you comfortable with where we are and in this, at least in these segments? Because are they viable to continue long term? The reason we got into these was to make up for the private capex. So once the private capex comes back, will we stop doing this? Something like material handling, while it gives us good volume, it is a difficult business, right?
No, it's in fact we've been able to do it quite well, and I do not. We haven't had too many technical problems or difficulties in execution. Apart from what is common to all our orders, which have been COVID and commodity price hikes and all, but there hasn't been anything. I would say there haven't been too many surprises or unpleasant surprises.
Okay. So, what would be the current share of material handling and civil infra of the overall order book? And so you will continue doing these projects going forward?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Idea on the share of these projects in the overall book?
In the overall order book today, I think these should constitute maybe about 15, 20% of the order book.
Oh, okay. Second question, our government share of order book has gone from, say, 47, right now it's at 55%. So working capital will go up, right? And given we are starting the construction of the Philippines plant, and again the debt payment is starting from January 22, if I remember correctly. So are we comfortable in terms of our liquidity? And you spoke about debt. What will be the quantity of the debt, and any quantitative answer on our cash position would be great.
No, so cash position has been very comfortable. And we do not expect any major. We do not expect not major. We don't expect any problems on the as far as liquidity is concerned. No problem whatsoever.
Okay. So can you just give the quantitative number for the construction and the debt repayments, at least the quarterly run rate?
So the borrowing for the Philippines plant will be done by the Philippines company from a bank in Philippines. So that debt will be serviced by that company only. That debt will not be serviced by SGEC Engineering. That company is, of course, a step-down subsidiary for us. The debt that has been approved by the bank is $24 million, equivalent in Philippine pesos. As far as SGEC's own cash position or borrowing position is concerned, as of the 30th of June, our net borrowing 106 crores. Standalone borrowing is 106 crores.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Levin Shah from Value Quest Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I had a follow-up. So if we, again on the margins front, now when we say normalized margin, what kind of margin range are we looking at in both these businesses, both the segments?
So I would just say that, given the volatility of the situation, we don't want to be over-optimistic and commit, but we should be back to our normal levels of margins for this year and improved for next year.
Okay. So will we be, this normalized margins are the margins that we had done in FY21, or we are looking at bettering that for full year?
FY21 may be slightly better than those. Maybe slightly better. The revenue and the profit for this year should be a little better than last year.
Okay, got it. Sir, and if you look at the composition of the order book that we have now, so versus the kind of execution that we have had in the past, so current, like you said, in total order backlog, projects contribute around 83% of the backlog. And if you look at the execution that has happened in last 2-3 years, the project business contributes close to 30% of the total revenue. So, the product business is 30% and the balance 70% is projects. So going forward with higher project business, our company level margins should come down because of the lower margins in the project business. Is that understanding correct?
No, that's not correct. That's not correct because project orders are typically longer cycle time than the manufacturing orders. So manufacturing orders will typically be from 4 months to, let's say, at the most 12 months, 13 months. Whereas project orders, they get executed over 16 months to sometimes even 30 months, 35 months.
Okay. So the split in the revenue or the execution would broadly remain 70-30 is what you are trying to say, right?
Yes, between 70 and 75% for EPC.
Got it. So though order book share is higher, but like you said, the timeline is stretched in the project business, and hence execution would be similar to what we have done in the past.
Right.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashna Manaktala from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask how has been the performance of Hitachi Zosen and the Canadian entity in this quarter?
So Hitachi Zosen has shown a slight loss in this quarter, which we are hopeful of recovering. But this is also because of this is purely COVID-related things which are beyond our control. Beyond our control. But for the full year, both the subsidiaries should be fine. Both in terms of revenues and profit. The Canadian subsidiary should turn around this year, and Hitachi Zosen should be back on.
Okay, sir. And how has been the press business?
The press business, I said, had been low because it's automobile related. But again, July has seen an improvement. July has seen an improvement in the press business.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Raj Rishi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi. You said that your market share in distillery would be around 15% for ethanol, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So, considering like the feedback, the perspective I have is like the blending target, if it has to be met, around 1,000 crore liters worth of ethanol capacity fresh has to come up, right? Do you agree with that? So, what would be your aspirational and what sort of target market share would you have for this?
So we would be happy if we are able to get orders for about 3 to 4 complete distilleries in a year, 3 complete distilleries in a year. We don't want to overstretch ourselves and say that that we'll do very. But it's a little bit of here and now sort of business. Once the investment comes in, it's not going to continue at the same rate. So we are seeing this rush, this rush of people wanting to invest. But we would be happy if we are able to do 3 or 4 complete distilleries per year.
Okay. And each distillery order would be approximately how much?
It depends on the size of the distillery, but it could vary from 80 crores to 180 crores. So it could, or 200 crores. It could vary, and it does vary.
And Mr. Puri, you alluded to the fact that suppose you would not be willing to take more orders because of the execution part. So when do you think your execution would be of a higher level, which will enable you to take those kind of orders? Like, what are you doing to scale up the execution part so that you can refuse orders?
We will keep monitoring the situation, and if we think that the demand is going to be long lasting, we will sort of scale it up. But as of now, we don't. We will periodically keep checking the market for that. But it's not that we are looking for a 60% share. And the thing is, there are some dominant players in the market. We are making an entry into. We made an entry into this, and we would be happy with if from 15% we go up to 25% market share. But we would be happy with that. Very happy with that.
My question was not this last part was not for the distillery part. It was overall. You said that you will be not taking new orders because you would be apprehensive of the execution part, right? Overall.
Okay, overall. So overall, we are, marginally expanding our capacity. All that we have been doing it for a period of time. Right now, also we are expanding capacities, but we will not. Like in 1 year, we will not expand our capacity to do a turnover of 10,000 from engineering from the standalone company. So we will marginally keep increasing, and if we see very good opportunities, then we will take a call and invest in increasing capacity.
Okay. And what's your vision for manufacturing? You expect it to be as a percentage at a similar level, or you think it will go up as a percentage?
We're looking for opportunities to increase our manufacturing output. We are looking at opportunities, and therefore we are making these investments. Right now, these are marginal investments. But if there is an opportunity which comes, we will not be shy of making a big investment.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take our last question. That is from the line of Ritika Gupta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I wanted to know the debottlenecking at Yamunanagar. What kind of revenues could we expect from the debottlenecking?
We are expecting that our manufacturing output will go up by about 10%.
Okay. So that means around 120 crores?
No, about 100, 110, 100.
Okay. So now the loan that we are taking in the Philippines, we are taking the loan in the Philippines company. So where do we plan to use the cash that we generate in the standalone ISGEC for FY22?
We're waiting for an opportunity to come. We're waiting for an opportunity to come, but we're waiting for an opportunity.
Okay. And how is order booking for the FGD segment going on?
It's good. It's good. We've got those NTPC orders, and we've got state order also. And so in FGD, there are both technologies, dry and wet, semi-dry FGD. And the coal plants are coming up with all sorts of solutions that we are suggesting to them. Overall, I would say coal-based power plants, air pollution control market is very different, and we have almost the entire range of the technology to cater to that. So just to put it in perspective, there are some plants which do not have a strong life now. So they want to go in for a technology which is low on capital but high on operational costs. And we have the technology for that also. So we expect that market to emerge.
So what percentage of our order book would be FGD?
I would say today maybe about 15%, 18%.
Okay. And my last question is, when do we plan to reach 10,000 crores of revenue by?
Last time it was 1 million.
It was $1 billion. You're right.
Right. I don't have. So 10,000 crores, maybe 3 years. 3 years.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Ranjit Shivaram for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks Bilal, and thanks my management for taking time out for answering all these questions, and thank you all the participants for your insightful questions and taking time out to attend this call. Sir, do you want to make any closing comments?
No, just be safe and all the best, and we shall meet again next quarter.
Yeah, so we'll close. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you very much. Participant on behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.